Hey guys, it's Fusion What Ifs here, and yeah, this is my first ever video. Like, subscribe, and enjoy. So, today we're going to be doing what if Deku had Minato's powers. So, we're going to start off when Minato is saying goodbye to Naruto after the reanimation jutsu is being done in the 4th grade ninja war. While he's technically dying, he asks the Sage of Six Paths if he can keep a bit of the QB's chakra, so that when he's reincarnated, the next person that he reincarnates into will have a better chance in achieving his dream. So we now go to Izuku Midoriya, or we know him as Deku. So Deku is just born, and he has 3 whiskers on his face. They think that his quirk awakened early and it's a type of mutation that gives him whiskers. So they put it off as that. But then everything goes original to canon until he reaches the age of 4. When he reaches the age of 4, they go to the quirk doctor to find out what his quirk is because it hasn't awakened yet. Or it has, kind of, but it's not a quirk. Like, he showed signs of lightning release and a bit of wall walking, because this one time he was running away and he ran into a wall, but instead of going into it, he stepped on the wall and then he started walking up it a bit, but it wasn't too far up so that when he fell he didn't get a concussion. So yeah, so his mom thinks that's some kind of energy manipulation or wall walking, right? But when they go to the quirk doctor, he says that, sorry to tell you, but your son doesn't have a quirk. And she's very confused because her son has showed signs of having these abilities, and if they're not a quirk, then what are they? We know that it's chakra and all, but she doesn't. So Deku goes home, but he's not really saddened because even though he knows he doesn't have a quirk, he has this type of power, and he's going to use this power to become the next number 1 hero. So he starts training. He doesn't know why, but he just gets the sense that he's going to need to train. So one day he overworks himself and he knocks himself out. He blacks out completely. But when he blacks out, he's goes into his mindscape and he sees a man, and this man had blonde hair and was wearing this white cloak with this type of fire pattern on the bottom of it. Deku asked, "Who are you?" And the man replied, "Oh, so you are my reincarnation. I am Minato Namikaze, also known as the 4th Hokage of the village hidden in the leaves." And honestly, Deku's a bit confused because he doesn't know any place called the village hidden in the leaves. So he thinks that this is a villain or something like that that's trying to invade his mind. But then Minato assures him that he's not a villain and that Deku's the reincarnation of him. And then something he didn't notice before. Behind him was this fox-like being. The fox, this is gonna be the good half of the Nine-Tails Fox, the QB. So he won't try to sabotage Deku. So he's a bit scared at first, but Minato assures him that he's not gonna hurt him. So yeah, he meets Minato and He meets Minato and the Nine-Tails Fox. Minato then explains that he's going to be teaching him how to use the power, how to use chakra, and and a way for him to become the number one hero. So I'm gonna say that he starts seeing the Dagobah Beach a lot earlier, right? The reason because of this is because he's trying to get metal to make kunais. Because, it's hard to find these stuff. You know what I mean? Like, it's hard to find these stuff that like shouldn't really even be here to begin with. So he gives him Dagobah Bitch a lot earlier, like when he's around 10. And I must say that in this one, Bakugo he still has that cocky attitude, but he doesn't bully Deku because Deku, I think that Deku has this type of lightning quirk, right? Because Deku only showed signs of lightning release, or only showed lightning release in school, but he actually has lightning, fire, wind, yin, and yang. If you guys are asking how he has yin and yang, it's because of Kurama. That's his chakra nature. I'm also gonna have him learn stage arts and KCM 2 because he has Kurama, or a bit of Kurama's chakra. So we're gonna skip all the way until the last day of middle school. So at the last day of middle school, the teacher comes in and says, "These papers are about your career. Who am I kidding? We all know you guys want to become heroes." And then they all start using their quirks, except for Deku and Bakugo, because Deku doesn't really like to show off. He's like Minato in this one, cool and collected. So when the teacher says, "Oh, Bakugo, you want to go to UA?" Everyone is shocked because UA is like a 0.2, I'm pretty sure, % chance of getting in. And Bakugo goes on about a speech about how everyone there is, extras and lackeys, and they're gonna be lucky if they even become sidekicks to D-listers. And then the teacher says, "Wait, Midoriya, don't you also want to go to UA?" And Midoriya says, "Yes, I do." And in this one, Midoriya isn't scared of Bakugo because him and Bakugo have fought a lot, and he's won most of them. Like, the only times that Bakugo has ever won was because Deku wasn't going all out, and 2, it was like a cheap shot, like a shot from behind when Deku thought that he already won. So nothing really too important. So Bakugo walks up to him and says, "Deku." Yeah, I'm sorry. So he walks up to him and says, "Deku, you better drop out of UA because you're not worth it." And then Deku says, "Okay." And then Bakugo says, "So you're gonna drop out?" And he's like, "No, I'm gonna take your thought into consideration, but I'm not dropping out." And then Bakugo gets annoyed and he picks up Deku's notebook. But before he could explode it, Deku grabs it back and says, "Hey, don't touch my stuff." And then packs it away and walks off. Because he's kind of in a rush today, he goes down the same aisle that he does before. In this one, I'm going to say that, Deku also knows a bit of stealing jutsus, right? So he runs into the sludge villain, and the sludge villain says, "Ha ha ha, boy, you look strong. I'm gonna need your body," sounding real gay. And then Deku looks at him like, "Are you okay? Like, do you need some help?" And then the sludge villain suddenly launches himself at him. Deku dodges this because he's been training, like I said, he's at like the body tone of Mirio. Yeah, around Mirio, but not as buff or bulky. So he dodges him, and then he sees that the sludge villain is made of this watery substance, right? So he decides to use fire style and burn some of him off. Then he uses lightning style to stun him, and then he uses a sealing jutsu. But first he grabs a bottle from his backpack, like, an empty water bottle, and then he seals the sludge villain inside of it. And then I'm gonna say that All Might was there saying, "Never fear, for I am here." And he saw like the whole thing, like the whole fight happen. And he's like, "Boy, you have a really you're really good. What's your quirk?" And then Deku says that he's actually quirkless. And then All Might's confused because he just saw Deku use fire, lightning, and some kind of markings that seemed to make the bottle like tighter. So he's confused and then asks, "But what was that then?" And he says, "Oh, it's this thing called chakra." And then he explains how chakra works and all of that. And then All Might's like, he could be a good successor in his head, right? Then he realizes that he's running out of time. So, he jumps away. But this time, he jumps a bit too far and then he drops the bottle. I'm gonna say that, like, Deku put a time limit on the bottle for, like, around, like, 2 minutes. So, it dropped on Bakugo, and then Bakugo started, like, to kick the bottle around because it seemed like, there's a bunch of sludge. But then when the sealing jutsu undid, right? The sludge villain broke out and then he caught Bakugo. And Deku's on his way home when he hears explosions going off in this alley. And then he goes to see what it is. And then he sees a bunch of people and heroes. And then he sees Bakugo in the sludge villain. And he's like, "All Might, where are you?" And then he looks to the side and he sees a scrawny man. And I'm going to say that he recognizes All Might's chakra. So he's like, "All Might?" But he doesn't say it out loud. And then he says, "That's not important right now. Bakugo's going to die if I don't do something because the heroes aren't doing anything." So he runs in and he tries, and then he uses lightning style. And I'm going to say lightning style only affects the sludge villain because, like, he told it out to the point to where it only, like, affects the sludge villain because water conducts electricity. And Bakugo got shocked a bit, but not enough that it could actually, like, hurt him. So the sludge villain loosened its grip, and then Deku grabbed him. And when he grabbed him, when he grabbed Bakugo, right? He threw Bakugo to the heroes and said, "Stay there." And then he performed this sealing jutsu, right? And then he asked for a container or a jar from someone in the crowd, right? Someone passed him a jar and then he sealed the sludge villain inside of it. Then All Might comes up because he's so inspired and says, "Never fear, for I am here." And he says, "Good job, young man. For you have inspired me to go beyond, plus ultra." And everyone's confused. And so is Deku a bit because he doesn't really know how he inspired him. And then everyone starts crowning All Might, like, "All Might, All Might, All Might. Can I have, like, an autograph or an interview?" And they also start crowding Deku too because Deku just took down the sludge villain. Like, that's a big deal. So they start crowding Deku. And I'm gonna say that Deku doesn't really like attention. So he uses the flying Raijin. Yes, the flying Raijin. He made the kunai out of, like, metals he found on the beach. So he got the kunai out of his bag and I'm gonna say that he has a seal at home, right? He has a seal at home and, like, at school, because he doesn't want to be late for school. So he teleports to that seal and the seal's in his room. So he goes home. And people are like, what is this guy's quirk? And they just brush it off as, like, some kind of energy manipulation. So they don't really care. And All Might doesn't really get to ask Deku because Deku doesn't walk home. So I'm going to say that Deku, like, is on a jog and he goes to Dagobah Beach, right? And there he sees this skinny person with blonde hair. And then he senses the same chakra that he felt from All Might. So he's a bit confused, and then he goes down and then asks, All Might, is that you? And then All Might turns back and says, Kid, how did you know? Because, like, that's the look that he's giving off because he seems so startled. And then Deku's like, that really is you, All Might. And like, why are you so skinny? And then All Might explains one for all for one, and how his quirk can be passed down. And he wants to give it to he wants to give it to Deku because Deku has shown signs of being a very good successor. But Deku declines, saying that the power he has now is enough. Like, he already has enough power to become the next #1 hero. She should give it to someone else who's having a tough time. And then All Might says, then who should I give a one for all to? And I'm gonna leave that to you guys in the comments to decide, because honestly, if I get no comments saying who I should give it to, I'm gonna give it to Bakugo, because Deku needs a decent rival. It's either Bakugo gets one for all, or I buff Bakugo because he's been training. So, one of those two. Deku doesn't really answer because he doesn't really know. So, All Might says, at least let me train you, right? So, Deku starts like spar and all that. And I'm also gonna say that Deku meditates at home. So when he meditates, he talks to Kurama and Minato. And Minato like tells him that like it's finally time to teach him some other jutsus, right? So as you know, I'm gonna give him all the chakra natures that Minato has. So that's lightning, wind, fire, yin, yang, and yeah. I'm also gonna give him enhanced speed and chakra because Minato, like, it says that Minato has like enhanced speed and chakra because he's a Namikaze. And I forgot to tell you guys this in the beginning, but Deku has streaks of yellow in his hair. Like, in his green hair, he has these little streaks of yellow. So that's because of Minato's influence, or Minato's soul. So I'm gonna say that during this time, he starts practicing Sage Mode and Nine-Tails QB Mode. If you're wondering what jutsus he knows right now, he knows the Lightning Circuits Jutsu, the Lightning Clones, Air Palm, Air Bullets, Vacuum Spear, Flame Bullets, Phoenix Flower Jutsu, and Lightning Style Lightning Cloak. But he's probably never gonna use the Lightning Cloak one because he already has, the Nine-Tails. So, yeah. I got time. So, let's go to the UA entrance exam, right? So when he's getting there, I'm gonna say he does trip this time, right? Because he's thinking how he's... Yeah, guys. Yeah. Sorry for the sudden cut. I had to go do groceries, I'm pretty sure. Like, I had to go do groceries, like, unpack them. So, I'm back. And I'm pretty sure I left off when Deku's going to the UA entrance exam. So, he still trips because he's thinking on what the exam's going to be and, like, what jutsu he's gonna use to pass. And he's wondering whether or not he's gonna have to use the Nine-Tails cloak. So, yeah. I'm gonna say that while thinking about all of this, he accidentally trips and then he gets saved by the same brown-haired girl, Uraraka. And then she says, "Is it fine I'm using my quirk on you? It's bad luck to fall on the first date." And then Deku says, "Oh, it's fine." Like, and in his head he's like, I'm talking to a girl for like the first time in my life. So he stutters a bit, but he gets to have a good conversation with Uraraka. And then she leaves saying, "Well, we should start heading in." see you inside. And then he says, yeah, same. And then she walks off. Inside, Minato and Kurama are like, my guy, how can you be so nervous? Because like he was stuttering a lot. Like it was kind of weird because he was stuttering so much that you wouldn't know. Like you would know that he's very, very nervous. So then like they're laughing, and then Deku's like, shut up. Like it's my first time talking to a girl. Like a girl that's actually like, because like I'm gonna say that he has friends, but none of them are like actual girls. And he thinks that Uraraka is cute. So yeah. That's what I'm gonna say. So he walks into the written exam, and he's gonna do better than before, like top 5, because come on, he has Minato. Like Minato's gonna make sure that Deku is at least in the top 5. Like he's not gonna just train Deku to be a musclehead. Like what's that gonna do in real life? So he gets top 5. And then they go inside this. No, they move on to the practical exam. So President Mike's explaining the 1-pointer, 2-pointer, and 3-pointer robots, right? And then a blue-haired kid stands up and says, "I see a 4th robot. If this is a mistake by UA, I am very disappointed in you." And then Deku looks down. And like Deku's not gonna reply to it because it's not directly to him, but he's thinking like, oh my god, we have a stickler. Hopefully this guy isn't in my class if he makes it in, right? So then President Mike explains that no, we didn't make a mistake, bro. Like it's a 0-pointer. It gives 0 points. It's supposed to be an obstacle. And then they all go out to the practical exam, right? Deku sees Uraraka again, and he's about to walk up to her to like motivate her, but then the same blue-haired kid that was in class, that was in the audience, that was talking to President Mike, comes up to him and says, "If you're going to that girl to ruin her chances of getting into UA, then you shouldn't become a hero." And then Deku looks at him like, dude, like, I'm gonna motivate her. Like, you're ruining her chances right now because she's so nervous that if someone was to snap 10 meters away, she would like jump out of her seat. Like, I'm gonna give her encouragement. And he says, no, you're going to distract her. And then Deku just decides to let it go and not do it anymore. So yeah, so the practical exam starts, right? I'm gonna say that like he uses the lightning cloak, and he's like actually I want to give him like, you know how fast the Raikage is, right? Like I'm gonna make him like a bit slower than that. Like he's faster than Ida, like 15% of one for all speed. Like yeah, 15% is enough to beat Ida in like a race. So you know, engine boy with the engine legs is looking as like Deku's just there and he's not even moving, and President Mike already said go. So everyone's running except for Deku, and then like Uraraka comes up to him and says, "Are you like, dude, you're supposed to be running?" And then like he says, "Yeah, I know," and then he waits for Ida to get in front, right? Like, you know, the blue hair engine boy, and then he activates the lightning cloak, and then he completely blitzed Ida. Like all they can see is a yellow flash. Da-da-da. So no, I mean a green flash. You know, a greenish yellow flash. That joke didn't work out as good as it was supposed to. Yeah, so he goes out and he's destroying robots with like using like I'm gonna say he has like a type of Chidori. Like no, sorry, he has the Rasengan. Sorry, I forgot to tell you. Like he's using the Rasengan. So he like I also got told that he also has Shadow Kunjutsu, right? But it's not to the extent that Naruto has it. Like he's not gonna make 1,000 of them. So he makes like 5 clones and then he spreads them out. And then he has all of them use Rasengans on like different robots, and then he also uses different jutsus like like the lightning circuits, air palms, air bullet, and like the phoenix flower jutsu, right? Around this, I'm gonna say that he racked up about 220 points, yeah. And then the 0 pointer comes out, and they hear a thud that shakes the ground, and Deku's like, oh, it's a 0 pointer. So then like he's like, it gives 0 points. What's the point? But then he hears a girl scream, help, help, and then he sees the same brown haired girl under a piece of rubble, and then he's like, I gotta help her, and then he activates the Nine Tails cloak. But just to make sure that he completely destroys the robot, I'm gonna make him activate Sage Mode on top of it, because we've seen Naruto activate Sage Mode and Nine Tails on top of each other, right? So Minato can do the same, and he does the same with it, right? So when he does that, right, he charges up. He charges up a Rasengan, but this Rasengan is different. He adds Yin and Yang release, and also lightning release. So the spear of the ball is starts to turn into a drill, like this gray drill with black and white lightning coming off of it. And then he jumps, and then he says yin yang lightning style, Razan Dori, because like he's using lightning style, so he calls it Razan Dori, right? Like yin yang lightning style, Razan Dori. And then he hits the robot in the head, right? And it's not just the head, but like the entire lower, like up until its legs, like it's all gone. And the only reason its legs are still like alive or like still there is because like the legs flew back before the thing could like impact it. So when the thing exploded, like the legs flew back and it hit other robots. So I'm gonna say that he got like an extra 30 points on that, and he gets 20 rescue points for saving Uraraka. And I'm gonna say that Deku knows that Uraraka doesn't have enough points to get in, so he fakes falling, because if you guys didn't know this, like Uraraka didn't get in. Like she only got in because of rescue points, because she saved Deku from falling. So then he starts to fall, and then he waits for Uraraka to slap him, and then he works his anti-gravity. So he saves her, right? And when he saves her, and no, I mean when she saves him, you know. What else? Yeah, so Deku gets an extra 60 points plus the 30. He has extra 90 points on top of his like 220, right? So he has 310 points. Like, I'm gonna say that's like the highest in UA history. So he gets first place in the entrance exam, and he goes home. Like, Uraraka tried to thank him for saving her, but I'm gonna say that Deku, he doesn't really like that attention. Like, he doesn't really have time for this because he has to go home. So he uses the flying ride, and then he teleports back home. And he teleports to his room, and then he walks out of the room, and then his mom is like, "Oh, back already?" Because I'm gonna say that his mom is used to him coming back through his room and not even the front door. So he's like, back already? And he's like, yeah, I'm back. And yeah, he comes back and he waits a few weeks. And he gets the letter saying, and he gets a letter. When he opens the letter, there's this hologram that says, sorry, that says, young Midoriya, because, you know, All Might knows Deku. Like, during the 10 months of training, like, they trained together. So he says in the hologram, young Midoriya, you have gained you have gained 250 villain points. But there's another part of the test, rescue points. And you were the one and only person that got rescue points for saving that girl. And I'm gonna say that, like, Uraraka didn't try to give Deku any points this time because, like, you know, like, she saw that Deku could, like, actually destroying robots, so she wasn't really scared that the guy didn't get in because he was helping Uraraka. So, yeah, All My Dead says you have a total of 310 points. That's the highest in UA history, even beating my score. And then, like, Deku's psyched because he beat All Might's score, and then All Might says, welcome to your Hero Academia. And that's where I'm going to end it off, guys, because I got things to do, I got games to play, I got sleep to sleep, like, you know, like, I actually gotta sleep, like, I pulled an all-nighter, so, yeah, like, I actually need to sleep. It's, like, 6 p.m, and, like, yeah, I'm not ready for this, so, see you later, like, subscribe, like I said before. I hope you enjoyed, and I promise if I keep on doing YouTube, it'll get better over time. I promise you that, because this is my first time, and it wasn't really scripted. Like, I had the thought in mind, but I would have done the thing before. Like, I was gonna do it like a few weeks before, but my friend said that I was gonna make me an intro, and I was waiting for that, but she was just taking too long. Like, it should be ready by the time I have my next video, so hopefully it's there, and hopefully it's not copyrighted. So yeah, thanks again for watching the video. Please subscribe, like the video, and yeah, peace out. Quick things: 1, you guys need to pick the ship. 2, you guys need to pick who gets one for all. And 3, apparently I can't say the word jitsu, right? Like, the things that they do, like the powers. So that's kind of sad. But bye, and thank you for watching if you made it this far.